How you? I'm saying, how? Like, talk to me, bro. You the police? Is you the FBI? CIA? What's you?
Now, a lot of people who start out trading are just eager to make some money. So, of course, they would want to choose the currency pair that would give them the highest amount of profits in the shortest amount of time. But is that possible? I mean, how do you know if the currency pair that you're trading is the best one for you? If you've ever asked yourself these questions or are just curious, then keep watching. What is up, guys? Candace B here. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Welcome back to my subscribers and welcome to my new ones. Hello. In today's video, I just wanted to go through a few things that can be considered when you're trying to choose the best currency pair to trade in Forex. Now, I use the term best very loosely just because what works for one person may not work for another person. We know that, right? We know that. So like pretty much everything in Forex, choosing a currency pair for yourself is purely subjective. As a disclaimer though, all of the things that I'll be mentioning in this video are just from my point of view, my interpretation, my opinion, and these are just a few things to think about, like surface level things. So take it with the teeniest, tiniest grain of salt, and please do your own research. I beg of you, please. Especially if you trade commodities or indices, do your own research, be self-sufficient, you can do it. But anyways, let us go through a few things to understand and consider when making the decision to choose the best currency pair to trade in Forex. The first thing that you can consider is the type of currency pair, and there are so many currencies that you can choose from. When certain currencies are paired together, they can be put into categories. So for example, major currency pairs include the US dollar, so that's like GBP USD or USD JPY, etc. A simple Google search will give you more information, but pretty much when it comes to major currency pairs, they have higher liquidity because they're traded so often and supply and demand is essentially never ending. And if you think about it, it makes sense because say you go on vacation to another country, you'll notice more often than not that they're willing to accept US dollars over anything, even their own currency sometimes. Because the US dollar is just the head honcho, it's the world's reserve currency. So if you're wanting to trade a reliable pair, a dependable pair, then any pair with USD in it can be considered. However, there are some currency pairs that are considered to be exotic that still have the USD in it, like USD Mexican peso or USD Turkish lira or lira. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Exotic pairs make up a much smaller part of the Forex market, and they pretty much all have super high spreads because, you know, they're less liquid, they have higher volatility, so they're naturally a lot more unstable and riskier. So if you choose to trade exotic pairs, I mean, I'm not judging, it's totally up to you. I just personally don't see any benefit in it. They sound pretty cool, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess it all just depends on your risk appetite and your trading style. There are also cross currencies that when paired together are considered minor currency pairs like GJ, EJ, etc. And you can also find an amazing list of them on Google. But don't let the term minor pairs confuse you. They all involve strong currencies from stable economies. They just simply don't include USD in them. Depending on the broker that you choose, minor pairs are more often than not going to have higher spreads than major pairs, but nowhere near the spreads of exotics. Like, those are in their own category. Minor pairs are also not as liquid as major pairs, so you definitely will see much more volatility in them. But if you enjoy a pair with strong currencies that will give you a good amount of volatility, then minor pairs may be on your shortlist to choose from. That being said, another thing that you can consider is the time you will trade. Figuring out the time that works best for you to trade will help you to figure out which trading session that time will fall under. Then as a result, that can help you to figure out which currency pair naturally correlates to the respective trading session. By that, I just mean which currency pair has more movement during that session. So for example, USD pairs trade well during New York session, GBP pairs in London session, AUD pairs in Sydney session, or JPY pairs in Tokyo. You'll definitely see that certain currency pairs move really well during certain trading sessions and just have a lot more volume than you would see in other trading sessions. So depending on the type of trader that you consider yourself to be, choosing a currency pair based on the time that you're planning to trade can be a simple approach. No doubt there will be currency pairs that move well in more than one trading session, so those currency pairs can be beneficial depending on the situation. It just may take some time to study a few pairs and analyze their movements during different trading sessions, no big deal. Especially for someone who doesn't really have a fixed daily schedule, it's just one of those things where you'll just have to find what works best for you, even if it may not fit your schedule perfectly. I'm sorry this isn't one of those videos where they just tell you to trade this pair during this time. It's just not one of those. You just have to put in the time and the work to study different pairs and figure out what works best for you. Because the market doesn't know your personal schedule and I don't know your personal schedule, so only you can figure that out. Even if you were to close your eyes and choose any currency pair to trade, you'll still have to study it at one point or another. Or else it'll just increase your chances of struggling if you don't care to put in the necessary work. This is coming from my own personal experience. Now, I touched upon this a little bit earlier, but I feel like this is something in itself that should be considered when you're choosing a currency pair to trade, which is volatility. Whether you're someone who is naturally risky and would prefer to trade a pair that has higher volatility, or you're more conservative and you wouldn't mind a lower volatility currency pair, volatility is still something that should be considered. Imagine choosing a currency pair just because you like the sound of it and you start to blindly trade it, and then all of a sudden you see these whipsaws coming out of nowhere and these candlesticks skyrocketing and then plummeting. Imagine the stress, okay? That is stressful, and stress is never cute. Don't you want to be cute? In my opinion, volatility can either be a great thing or a traumatizing thing. For example, if you're starting out with a smaller account size, you may think that trading a higher volatility pair can increase your chances of growing that account. But you can't negate the fact that it also increases your chances of losing your account, especially if you don't use a stop loss. But let's say that you do use a stop loss because you are smart and you want to set a 20 pip stop loss for every trade that you take. Well, a 20 pip movement can easily happen within minutes with a higher volatility pair. And even if your analysis was correct, a higher volatility pair can just simply hit your stop loss and then continue in the direction that you're expecting it to go in. So if you're not prepared for that possibility, it can become traumatizing, especially if it happens over and over again. Then it will end up being hard to avoid feeling pretty debilitated and then taking that negativity into your next trade. So that is just one of the many reasons why it's important to consider the volatility of a currency pair before you decide to start trading it. But one more thing that I'll mention in this video is to understand that there is no holy grail. I feel like this summarizes the whole notion. There is no specific currency pairs or commodities or indices that will make you consistently profitable or rich overnight. And I know it may seem like that on social media. You may see someone trading the US 30 and think, wow, this person is making thousands of dollars on one position. I need to trade the Dow. I have to trade the Dow. Please do not fall for that hype. Yes, of course, there's going to be certain pairs that move way more in a single day than others move in a week. But in my opinion, there is no direct correlation between how much a pair moves and how many pips you yourself will either gain or lose. So to think what is the best currency pair to trade isn't really going to get you anywhere. It may even lead you on this never-ending Google search. Instead, asking yourself, what is the best currency pair for me to trade, will provide a better solution. Understand that whatever instrument that you choose to trade will take blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of trial and error. At the end of the day, we always just have to make sure we are managing our risk well, because that is all we have control over as traders. So just a few things to possibly consider if you are in the position of trying to figure out what is the best currency pair to trade. I hope this video can act as a little reference guide for at least one person. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. I appreciate it ever so much. Also, comment down below and let me know, how was your experience when you were trying to find a currency pair to trade? Was it a fun process? Was it kind of difficult? If you're currently going through that process right now, feel free to share your experience. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe so you know when I post another video. And in the meantime, feel free to check out any of my other videos on this channel and my other channel. I appreciate you all so much, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but keep going. Your breakthrough is right around the corner, but you have to keep pushing forward. Don't stop, okay? Don't stop. But that being said, I hope you all have an extraordinary day, week, and life. Bye!